Hey gang, Will here from the Ashland Fly Shop with an updated fishing report for you for the last week of September 2019. We're back, we're fishing. We want to tell you all about what's going on around here, so off we go. Well, as you might know, this is our favorite time of year. This is it. This is the peak. This is the time we like to be out fishing. This is the time we have the best fishing in our region. We look forward to this time all year. It's steelhead fishing, and it's really not disappointing this year. We're very happy to report we have good numbers of fish around. My God, it's amazing, knock on wood, and we're very fortunate to have some good numbers of adult steelhead in the Rogue River, in the upper section of the Rogue River that we focus on here in Southern Oregon. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about conditions a bit. So as we see every year, we see in September, we see the flows drop down from their summer flows starting around the first week of September. They kind of start kicking down. So now the last week they're at their lowest point, 1,000 CFS out of the dam, about 11 or 1,200 at Dodge. So really not much inflow at this point. And we expect that to stay pretty much that way until we start seeing some of our bigger rains. So, so it's very low. It's probably a lot of the reason why the Rogue is known as such a nymphy river is that, you know, it's very approachable. You can get to all the slots and stuff, all that bedrock channeling and all that. It's pretty easy to get to. But right now, there's really not going to be too many places that you can't reach on the Rogue, whether you're nymph fishing or swinging, fishing out of a boat, walking in. So expect it to be low, and expect those conditions to be good. So earlier in the season, we focus really on our own backyard right here, which is really right from Medford up to the Hatch, or even up to the town of Shady Cove, because we have the cooler water from the bottom draw release from Lost Creek Dam. But when the water drops like it is now and really gets low, it's very cold water coming out of the dam, and it really puts almost the entire upper river in play down to the down to the top of the canyon. So all the way through Grants Pass comes into play, whereas it's not quite happening when the water's really warm down there. We don't see a lot of good fishing. We just see fish moving through there. But when we get to this time of year, about the third week of September, second week of September, water conditions change down there, especially with the rain and stuff we've had. That is really going to change that area. So really the whole middle upper section of the river from the canyon up to the dam is really, really something to consider right now. That whole area is really in play, and I would expect fair to good fishing all through there. So as far as what tactics to use on the Rogue right now, it's really just same as it ever was. If you're nymph fishing, hothead stones, standard realistic stones, size 4 and 6, with droppers of size 10 through 12 pretty much, or 8, 10, 12, those can work really well. Any kind of drop, copper johns, 3D stones, things like that. All that stuff works pretty good year to year. It's good to have just a few to rotate through, try some different things. Some egg patterns always work. So those are good tactics. We talk about that a lot when people come in. They're new fish every year, so we're not trying to outsmart them. We're just trying to find them and get in front of them. If you're swinging flies like we love to do, then you're fishing everything from skating flies, skating dries, which we've been doing more of, to traditional patterns. You can really fish the gamut right now. You can really fish in the film, you can fish just below the surface, standard traditional Rogue patterns, and then your smaller dark intruder type patterns. Smaller articulated flies can work really well this time of year too. We like dark patterns on the Rogue, egg sucking patterns, hothead patterns, things like that work really well. So, size 4 hooks, even size 6, small little 2.5 inch patterns work really well. Sink tips, type 8s or T8s, probably about as much as you need to fish. You don't really need to get down too much, but if you're fishing a bigger, deeper spot, then you might go to a T11 or something. But the fish are really suspended. They're moving around a bit right now, so you really don't need to really probe to find them. Unless you're nymphing, and then that's a good tactic. But just got to get in front of them right now. No matter what the numbers look like, it's still steelhead fishing no matter how you crack it. It's just not trout fishing. You know, it's just not the type of fishing that you can go out and expect a certain certain results that you might expect trout fishing, if you expect results trout fishing as well. But steelhead are very susceptible to conditions, to changing conditions, to pressure. There's a lot of factors involved, and so what we get a lot this time of year is we get these sort of high pressure scenarios, kind of like we're in right now, where we get really bright sun, warm days, warm Indian summer days, and then everyone knows that they love to come and fish at this time of year when the water's lowest and there's good numbers of fish around, so there can be a fair amount of pressure on the river. So high pressure from the weather and pressure from anglers makes for fairly challenging fishing pretty quickly. So what we'll a lot of times experience is we'll experience like, oh, we'll see some fish coming in. Our guides will be like, wow, I got, you know, X number this day with our client, I got X number the next day, and then boom, we're going off a cliff because, you know, these fish are all getting harassed, and they move around a bit, but eventually they kind of huddle up and just kind of hunker down, and they're a little bit harder to find, and we get into this kind of onesie twosie kind of a situation. So I think that's really important to know. What you're looking for this time of year is you're looking for things to mix it up. So we have been really fortunate this year. We've had really no fires, no smoke to consider, which is awesome. And we've had some really early storms come through, which has been great. We've had some early rain, really has brought the river up and down slightly, taken it off color a bit, it's come back. So just fantastic. A lot of times this time of year, we just get this high pressure done for like 8 weeks. You know, it's just becomes really stagnant out there. So we've really got some good weather in the mix. We look to have a little bit more. We were looking out about 5 days. Looks like we got some more overcast, a little bit more rain coming. So we've got some really good conditions looking at. So we're very excited about this season. And it's proving out to be good. It is fly fishing only right now in the upper river. That is everywhere from the dam at Lost Creek Lake or the hatchery there down to the Fisher's Ferry boat ramp. It's fly fishing only, and then November 1st starts. They open it back up for bait from the dam down to the town of Shady Cove because they assume there's so many hatchery fish in there. And they got a lot of pushback from conventional anglers. So anyway, it's great time to be out there, great time to be on the road, looking to be a good season. Encourage you to give it a shot. Please call us for up to the minute details on the Rogue, but it's go time. It's go time out there. The Klamath River. Let's talk about the Klamath River to the south that we love, just to the south of us. Yeah, it's starting to take shape too. A lot of differing kind of reports, but just in the last week, we've been getting more solid reports of people consistently catching fish, finding decent numbers of half-pounders and adults. And the Klamath fish and the Rogue fish are pretty similar. We see those runs kind of shaping up in a similar way year to year. Sometimes there's some variation, but they're fairly typical, so are fairly consistent. So the Klamath, we're kind of hoping to see good returns of adults. They last year was very good, so hopefully we'll kind of be in that same rotation, same cycle that we saw last year. So, but you know, the Klamath's longer, it's a little bit later. Typically, you know, right here on I-5, just over the hill here, we're at the very upper end of it, and we don't really even start fishing it until, you know, later in October. Certainly there's some fish up there by then, but really that later October is when we see good numbers of fish kind of filtering in up there and making it past a lot of the main tributaries and stuff. So now would be a good time to fish lower down. Still probably some fairly high water temps down there, but it would be a good time to be down there looking around for adult fish, maybe on the Middle River in that Happy Camp area and below. I've done some trips down there this time of year. They can be a little hit or miss, but it's been a cooler year, so it could be good expectations. But we'll keep you posted on that, and we get a lot of information about the Klamath. So, but yeah, I think it'd be a very good time to be down there now, and we're really excited to fish that river this year. I always feel like I should mention something about the North Umpqua, even, it is right in our backyard, and we do get up there a bit, but it's such a hush-hush place. And just, year to year, it's just such a fickle fishery, I would say. I think it reminds me a lot of the Dean River in British Columbia, to be honest. I think there's just a certain number of fish in there, and the population just kind of fluctuates a little bit every year. And it just seems like, man, if you're there when some fresh fish come in, and that's your 2 or 3 day window that you're up there, like you're probably you could have a banner 3 days, even with a low return. And then if it's more of a stagnant week or whatever, like you're gonna think there's no fish up there at all. So, most people that we talk to that are serious about fishing up there, which is a lot of people, they're gonna go. They're just going no matter what. So I think that's the way you look at the North. I would say this year has been very similar to a lot of years. It's just, very hard to tell, what kind of numbers are up there, or just kind of what the fishing is. And even if I tried to give a good account of what was happening, got a great report, the next week's going to be different. So it's a tough one, but we'll always try to give you the best update we can if you want to call us and talk about the North. It's really a jewel in the crown of Northwest steelhead fly fishing, and we're happy to talk to you a little bit about it and tell you what we know. If you're a local trout fisherman and you're looking for something to do close by, the holy water really starts to come back into fishing shape this time of year. Great time to fish streamers up there. Really good time to get your trout spay up there and fish your little, 2, 3, 4 weight trout spays, little streamers and buggers and little leeches. Can be a very good time. Could run into some hatches if we get a little overcast. We do see some October caddis up there at times, but it would be kind of a random hatch. But you can also nymph through. I personally, I've never had a lot of luck nymphing, but I talk to people that do, and just nymphing standard stuff. There's a lot of midges in there. So, fishing really small zebra midges and things like that can be good. But the holy water is one to look at again, and that can really pick up and be good fishing this time of year. So and again, the flows are really low, just like they are in the main river. So it's a good time to be up there looking around on the holy water and fishing streamers and that type of stuff. Should be good. So that's what we're looking at. I'm sure there's some other fishing going on somewhere right now close by, but this is just really what we look forward to all year, and we're really super focused on it, and a lot of our customers are. So just going to leave you with this now instead of going on for another half an hour. But the fall is probably the best time of the year to fish. It's phenomenal. If you have a fishery that you love, chances are it's probably fishing pretty damn well right now and will for the next 4 weeks. So great time to fish, great time to get outside. Absolutely beautiful year, stunning year in Southern Oregon, Northern California. So I encourage you to get out and enjoy it, have fun. If we can provide more detail, give us a call. We're happy to help. Appreciate you tuning in. Thanks so much. See you next time.